it's MK and I am back with another 31 days of cut file fun. Still working with the Just Nick cut files this week, and this is the cut file that I will be playing with today, and I'm going to turn it into a shaker file or element. So I've got my die cut circles, and I have some foam and some acetate that I will be using to make this a really super simple cut file shaker. And I also have this really cool Stampin' Up! Sequins mix that has some seashells in it and stuff like that. And then of course some almost clear pearl from the Not Just for Boys Kit Club. I have some thickers picked out in indigo and bright are the colors, or the two that I have picked. And I've already done my title because of the fact that I had to alter one of the pieces because I did not have any tees. I also have this really old sticker sheet. It's from My Mind's Eye, and it's by the C collection. I have just a few elements left of that, and I think I have one or two pieces of paper, but that won't be used on this one. I have this wood veneer from Some Assemblage Required that I've already colored and already set it up, but sad news, it does not make it on this layout. So that's okay. This is the gazebo that I have in the left corner of my house. And I have this washi tape, this one whole strip of washi tape from 49 and Market, their beach collection, but I don't believe that ends up being used at all. The shaker element turns out to be larger than I was expecting it to be. So I have this one tiny little seagull that is also from the 49 and Market chippy back in the day. I have some leftover string from a previous project. This is a paper from Graphic 45, Seize the Day, just the solids collection. And then from Graphic 45, many, many moons ago, I have this from the Seaside collection. These papers are really hard for me to use because I don't want to cover them up. They're like works of art. And so I decided that I was finally going to pull one out and use it. I don't believe I've used any of these papers, you guys, just to be honest. So first thing I'm going to do is actually work on the shaker element. Now I have to say that because of the length of this video, I did put this in super speed mode because it would have taken forever how long this shaker pocket ended up taking me. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut apart all of my circles, not all of them. I'm going to make it to where I have two shaker elements across my page, so that way they go around the photos instead of just putting one right there and then adapting my photos to it. I'm adapting it to my photos. I also have to make a few of the borders around these a little skinnier because I had to cut into them in order to get some perfect circles on one and not so perfect circles on the other. So I'm just going to trim those up really quick so that way they still look good. Now I'm not the perfect circle cutter in the world, but it still looks good. Once you get all the elements and things, you don't even notice the wonky circles. So I'm just trying to decide what circles I want, which ones are too big, which ones are going to be just right. And also, I have to admit that some of them don't work at all, and I have to trim them down later. So I if all else fails, I always go for the largest one. Excuse me. I always go for the largest circle as opposed to smaller because, of course, you want it to cover the entire hole rather than have a little gap for sequins to come out. Okay, so I'm deciding right now if I want to paint my cut file. Do I want to leave it white? Do I like the white element? And of course, painting always overrules the white. It just always does. So I pulled out 4 little pots going on here. I have the Shimmers Rita on the Rocks. That is what I'm painting with now. The blue is Steely Blue Eyes. And then, of course, my favorite brown is Tarnished Treasure, unless another brown comes along and steals its spot. And then, of course, I have Pining for You because that is just the perfect green for me. And what I'm doing is I put a base coat down for my greenery, and then I'm going through with the Pining for You and the Tarnished Treasure and dulling it down or greening it up, if that makes any sense. So I didn't want it to be just that bright green, but I wanted it to look like it had movement, because it's supposed to represent being under the water for some weird reason. Then I'm going to take my Steely Blue Eyes blue and paint the circles, or should I say bubbles, that I'm going for. So that way I have little blue bubbles, but I did not want them to be so dark blue that they took over from the pattern paper. And so I'm also adding a little bit of blue into my green over here, so that way I just get again, a different shade of green. I did not want them all to look the same. Then I'm going to take my tarnished treasure and go around the blue, so that way it gives it a metal look, like it's a underwater porthole, if that makes any sense. So it's been underwater for quite a while. I wanted some of them a little bit browner than others, instead of just having all of them the same. I wanted a little bit different texture. Okay, so I'm going to take my acetate. Now I went through and on my die cut machine, I went through and cut out all the circles, the ones that I was measuring earlier. This is so super simple. Like I said, I don't hardly have to cut anything, but because the glue seeps out, I do wipe my fingers off quite a bit, because I don't want that, I don't want the gummy part of the glue to stick to my acetate. So I'm constantly rubbing my fingers together outside of my project. I am also trimming off, like I said, I had some of the circles a little bit larger, so I'm trimming them off as I go, so that way I don't forget, because they are see-through, and I can barely see them on my desk. Even though you guys can see them really well, the light is shining on them really well, I could not hardly see them. Okay, so the foam did not work out as I was planning. It was a little too skinny, and so when I ran it through my die cut machine, it smushed it pancake flat, you guys. It did not work at all, like I was expecting it to. And I don't even know where I got this piece of foam, but I thought that, it was a good thing that it didn't work, because there was not adhesive on either side of the of the foam. So I have these little strips that are from scrapbook.com. They're scrapbook.com manufactured, so I guess their branding is scrapbook.com. And they're beautiful. Even though it doesn't look like they're going in a perfect circle, what you're seeing is the masking paper that's not bending. But the foam strips, they go in circles, they go in stars, they just make beautiful shaker pockets, you guys, and they're the perfect thickness, so they're not too thick, they're not too thin. They just make for really awesome shaker pockets, to be honest. So last one that I'm going to do, and then I always take my paper off, and the reason I do that is because of the fact that once I get my sequins in the pots, in the shaker wells, I always end up right at the very end of the paper. When I pull it off, it always ends up making the entire project jump, and then all my sequins come out. So I pull them off before adding my sequins. That way, all I have to do is add the backing to it, and it is done. I don't have that pop to where the sequins shatter and go everywhere. All right, and then I fixed. I cut this part out. I apologize. I thought I recorded it. But I put another clear acetate sheet on the back of my shaker, so that way this beautiful paper can be seen through my shaker pockets. So there are the finished shakers. I do apologize for not having them, not finishing them on camera, but all I did was add another acetate piece to the back and turn them over. That was it. So anyways, just deciding placement. I did not realize when I colored my wood veneer lighthouse that I was going to leave the paper white lighthouse visible. I thought I was going to cover it up. And the more that I shifted everything, I decided to leave it there. In fact, I thought I was going to cover up the whale tail as well. Because this is about my little gazebo that I put that little top on top of it in order to make it look like a lighthouse. And then we have a string of lights that wrap around inside the roof of this gazebo. And one of them sticks up. I don't turn it on very often because I do live on a main road. I'm also watching an episode of something. I don't know, but it clearly has me entranced. I apologize about that, you guys. But anyways, I don't turn it on very often because I live on a main road and I don't know how obnoxious it would be to people coming and going. I want to be respectful to the drivers. I definitely don't want to cause an accident. But my whole thought process was to turn this into what looked like a lighthouse, but it can only be so high due to the fact that this is on a corner. And I don't want it to obscure, the street signs and things like that. I don't want it to be too tall. So, of course, my lighthouse isn't, as tall as I wanted it to be, but that's okay. I still got the visual effect I was going for. This year, we wanted to work on the grounds work of it. So the entire corner section of our lot and make it look like it was on a beach type of deal. But our... our tiller showed up late and we were unable to get the project started before it got, before the heat wave, I should say. I laugh because the majority of you guys have way hotter days than we do, but for us, it's still a heat wave. So anyways, our tiller didn't show up in time. So we have not finished this project. It is in my to-do list, but this was when we put down the rocks in the center, the sandstone in the center of the gazebo. And then I put a flower bed all the way around it as well, because I want this honeysuckle to actually grow around the railings of it and of my gazebo and be able to just have all that greenery. So that's my thought process. Anyways, let's see if it actually does that. But I wanted just a fun and whimsical layout for this one. I did not want to do, the flowers and the leaves and things like that, because I wanted this to be remembered as a lighthouse for sure. So I definitely, wanted that effect, and I figured I was going to get that by using all of the really cool embellishments and things, for this layout. So representation, basically. All right. And then I added my title. So that way it says, the Lighthouse Gazebo. So it freaks my husband out because people actually pull over and take pictures of it. Jason's like, what are they doing? And to me, I just say, well, maybe they just like it so much that they want to take pictures of it. I don't know. But he still has to put some benches in there. That is one of his goals. But of course, the 57 Chevy, he is still slowly working on. He changes his mind all the time of what he's going to do, but it's finally progressing, and it's a beautiful project, by the way. I'll have to get some more updated photos of it. But anyways, just finishing off with a couple of the wood veneer, or not wood veneer, but they're wood hearts from the Simple Stories die cut collection. I am also going to add some of these. I don't know what they're really called, but they're almost like they're see-through pearls. So they've got the half pearl shape, but they're totally see-through. And I love how they make my project look wet. And I like adding these types of elements to a dimensional layout. I would not have added these to just a flat layout had there not have been other dimension, because what they do is they leave little dimples in my page protector, and so I choose to use them only with dimensional layouts like this one. All right, here are the close-ups. I did have to alter an L, or actually I believe it was an F, and I took the center piece of the F and turned it up so that way I could have a T. And that is my layout. I do love turning Q's upside down so I have extra O's, because I definitely go through my O's quite a bit. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have enjoyed this project. It was a super easy way to make a shaker pot page. Be sure to check out Christina's live. Today is the second day of our 31 days of Cut File Fun, so make sure that you check that out. Also, check out the Facebook group where you can catch the live and the recording all in one spot. And also, too, those that are playing along have their projects in the albums as well, so check those out too. All right, thank you so much, and I will check y'all later. Bye.